you have become what earth says you are. That was the state of Israel. He said, thou mighty man of valor. And the guy said, no, I can't be a mighty man of valor. The stories we heard God did with our fathers, how come we can't see them anymore? And he said, have I not told you, I will be with you? He said, go in this thy might. But you see, if the guy left that way, he will still be defeated. So when we say go in this thy might, it's not to come and motivate people so that they will go out and say, I'm going in this my might. That's not the idea. Because when he told him, go in this thy might, he didn't stand up and leave. He introduced him into a protocol. A protocol that activates the might that was in him. Because the might that the man had was not muscles. The might that the man carried was the dimension of God that he was destined to give expression to. When he said, go in this thy might, the might he's referring to is the dimension of Christ that you are supposed to reveal to your world. But you can't just jump out and begin to manifest it. And he began to establish him in a protocol that activates the might that was in inside. So go in this thy might is not sending you, it's calling you into intimacy. When he said go in this thy might, he's not saying go and manifest. He's actually summoning you into intimacy. Because there is a lexicon, there is a syllabus of truth that you must be introduced with. And the first thing he did was that he brought him an awareness. The first protocol of going in this thy might is an awareness. And the awareness he gave him was that I am with you. So for the first time, the guy will not be conscious of the armies of the Midianites. For the first time, the guy will be conscious of the armies of God. I am with you. The reason many men are defeated is because they don't know what is with them. Elisha was crying because he thought they were defeated. Meanwhile, Elisha's servant Gehazi was crying because he thought they were defeated. But Elijah was comfortable. And when he met him, he said, are you not aware that the armies are about to destroy us? The reason Elisha was not afraid is not because he's bold. It's because he was aware what was around him. And the guy was so troubled until Elisha had to tell God, please open his eyes, let him see. And when his eyes opened, he looked and he saw chariots of fire surrounding them. Instantly, the fear of the invading force was removed. So the first protocol of going in this thy might is not an errand, it's a consciousness. This is why we are praying. We are praying that by all means the heavens will open and you will see your dimension. The first day you see your dimension, you will become afraid of yourself. He said you were fearfully and wonderfully made. The question you should ask yourself is, who was afraid? Because when you were created, nobody was there. You were in a studio of eternity. He said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. So the one who was there when you were made was Yahweh himself. So the one that was afraid was Yahweh. You were fearfully and wonderfully made, but you have not seen that dimension. That's why you fear. The first protocol is an awakening. If I asked you after this conference, who are you? If you still define yourself as a lawyer, it means you didn't come for this conference. Because this conference is not in this hall. This hall is only the door into this conference. This conference is in the spirit. If you think you are in this auditorium, then you didn't participate in the conference. The conference is not in a building. Witches don't go for meetings in auditoriums. Because you can't see your reality in an auditorium. You can't see it. Moses was a stammerer. And suddenly the Bible said, Moses went to the backside of the desert. And he came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And God appeared. Instantly something shifted. the man stopped being a stammerer. He became a god. And he said in Exodus chapter 7 verse 1, I have made you a god unto Pharaoh. What happened? It was an awareness. The veils were open. The scales had fallen from his eyes. There are many people who will come here and go back distracted, but it's not your portion. When they say pray, don't joke. Because what we are trying to do is to migrate. When the world is going on, don't joke. Because your word is not a message. Your word is, it can be a sentence. It can be a phrase. It will be shot into your heart. And all of a sudden you will rise. And when you rise, you'll be a warrior. You will be a warrior. Something will shift. Because the first protocol of going in this dynamite is an awareness. It's an activation. I am with you. And instantly, the Midianites became like ants. He said they sent 10 spies to survey the city. And they got there. And they said they were like grasshoppers. We were like grasshoppers before them. Instantly, Joshua and Caleb tore their clothes. He said they were men of a different spirit. It's not like they lied. The land they went to was the land of giants. They were men with 10 toes and 10 fingers. Some of them were over 200 feet tall. The era of the giants is gone. The giants were not mortal men. The Bible spoke of certain men. He said they were beastly. They were like lions. Some men grew beards like lions. Their hands could carry the weight of 5 men. They were tall. They were giants. So the guys were not lying. But the problem is that they were not aware who was with them. So the battle is not against the mountain. The battle is against your self-awareness in God. The day you know, every mountain becomes an opportunity of manifestation. So we don't see the size of mountains. We see the size of who comes with us. That's the first command of going this dynamite. It's an awareness. So when he told him go in this dynamite, he brought him into a syllabus and he began to educate him. Thou mighty man of valor. He said, I will be with you. And the guy still have not understood. And then he told him the second thing. The second thing in the command is sacrifice. You can be aware, but if you have not entered the gate of sacrifice, it will be like a joke. The moment you leave the conference, the energy will leave you. So the way to interact with what comes down is by the verdict of sacrifice. And the first thing that happened was that the guy raised an altar before the angel, and he stretched his hand, and the stone licked off the sacrifice with fire. And he didn't stop there. That night, he said to him, go and pull down the altar of Baal and raise another altar unto the Lord. You can never go in this dynamite if you leave this conference with that same relationship that violates you. It will be story. You will hear messages, you will enjoy them, but you will never manifest. Because when that awareness comes, the second thing that happens is that a demand of sacrifice is placed on you. Many people will let go of many things to manifest. Many things. See, we have good messages, but we don't have sacrifice. That's why we are weak. The weight of a man is not his eloquence. The weight of a man is the depth of his consecration. The weight of a man is the depth of his sacrifice. The stature of a man in the spirit is predicated upon what he can let go. When he wanted to raise Abraham, he said, go and sacrifice thy only son, the son that you love. I want to make you a friend of God now. But a friend of God must let go of everything. You don't become a friend of God by chance. You become a friend of God by sacrifice. And the guy carried his son. In Genesis 22 verse 5, he said, I am going off to worship. And he tied his son on the altar. And God spake. He said, now I know. What do you mean now I know? Are you not the omniscient God? There are many things God don't know until you begin to sacrifice. Because what makes God know is not in his knowing ability. It is in your sacrificial ability.